Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. I'll be honest with you, I always like it when the Ravens get together with the Miami Dolphins because some of my favorite media dudes are down in that market over the course of time. Maybe it's the music and the intersection of culture and life and politics, which we've talked about many times with this guy. We welcome Armando Salguero back on from the Miami Herald. You can follow him out on Twitter at Armando Salguero. I love the old school Orange Bowl picture there, Armando, on the front of your Twitter page. I thought of that the other day, actually. I don't know why, but I was watching Miami play, the Hurricanes play, and I thought, you know what? I missed the Orange Bowl about the Hurricane experience. I'll say that.
Yeah, I grew up like a mile and a half from the Orange Bowl, and I used to, me and my buds, we used to, sneak in or try to at the end of the first quarter when the turnstiles had been shut off and the guards were gone. So we tried to sneak into games, the discount version, of course. And so fun times back in the day.
Well, what era was that? You talking Greasy era there? Or you talking maybe a little later? Where are you?
No. It was like, I guess it was
Strock.
Woodley before Marino, after Greasy.
I remember the Wood-Strock combination. The concert was better.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Dude, we absolutely stink right now. And look, I see a lot of this around the league. You watch the game. You've covered the sport for a long time. I don't know that we've ever, week to week, seen more teams get together and just seen, because of injuries, certainly the Dolphins coming in with their third quarterback here. We had the third quarterback of the Vikings the other day. And we're losing the third quarterbacks with Joe Flacco around here because we got 20 guys on IR. I mean, our team stinks right now. Injuries or not, it's just a very bad brand of football. And I don't hold out a lot of hope for them to win a lot of football games right now. How are the Dolphins? They're 4-2. They must be good, right?
No, they're not.
I knew that.
The Dolphins are part of the NFL, and as part of the NFL, they're, inconsistent. They're not just inconsistent game to game. I'm talking about inconsistent quarter to quarter. On Sunday, when they beat the Jets 31-28, it was one of those things where if you're watching the game for 3 quarters, you're thinking the Miami Dolphins have no clue, they do not practice, and they don't care about football. And then all of a sudden, they break out of their slums, their doldrums, their ineptitude, and for the second week in a row, they make up a double-digit lead. The deficit was 14 against the Jets. It was 17 against the Falcons the week before that. So they're making a living on, playing half a game and then going in a breakneck speed rally-wise. It's no way really if you're wanting to show any sort of consistency.
Well, and then there's Matt Moore, behind this, who leads them back, who has been kicked to the curb plenty of times here at this point, and I guess they'll turn to him. What's wrong with Matt Moore, Armando? Why not him from the beginning?
Nothing's wrong with Matt Moore, but let's say this. The Dolphins went with Matt Moore as a full-time starter in 2011. And they were 7-9. Matt Moore led the NFL in fumbles. They really weren't much of a contender. And it showed that, Matt Moore is good in short, small doses. But if you're asking him, especially now at age 34, to play 16 games and play well for 16 games, that's asking too much. And so that's why when Ryan Tannehill went down, they said, thank you very much. We feel very good about having Matt Moore, but Jay Cutler's out there, so we're going to pay him $10 million and bring him in. And I wrote at the time, and I've said all along, what happened then is they decided that Jay Cutler is going to start the season for them, but it may very well be that Matt Moore will have to finish the season for them. The Dolphins believed at that time, we've got two 34-year-old quarterbacks. Neither one of them is going to be able to play 16 in a row. So maybe two of them together, we can, cobble together 16 games.
We're chatting with Armando Salguero of the Miami Herald. It's all brought to you by Al's Seafood in Essex. We've been getting steamed crabs and crab cakes there since the 1970s. Get down to Stemmers Run in Eastern and see Chad the Crab Man, as well as Compass Point Golf Course down in Pasadena. Robert Kennedy will be here next week doing some college basketball with us. Get on down to funky Pasadena, play some golf this fall and winter. You can visit them at compasspointgolf.com. You can find Armando out on Twitter as well as at the Miami Herald, and certainly can find him here in Baltimore, where the Dolphins come in. 4-2 is not even good enough, right? I mean, they haven't lost in a month. We have played one good hour of football since like early September, and even winning isn't good enough. This has not been a pretty version of the Dolphins, but do you hold out any hope at all that there's going to be some sort of improvement here? I'm guessing they're just going to try to run the football a whole lot on the Ravens on Thursday night. That's worked out pretty well for a couple of teams recently.
Well, I mean, trust me, Nestor, they don't judge wins and losses on appearances. They judge them on wins and losses. And so the Dolphins would say to you and to me and to anyone who says you're not playing pretty football, so what? The bottom line is they are a team that has beaten the defending NFC champions in the Atlanta Falcons at Atlanta. Of course, so the Patriots destroyed them on Sunday, so I don't know if that was such a great win. And they beat the Jets. Of course, the Jets are tanking, so I don't know if that was such a great win. The bottom line is, win is a win is a win. You only beat the team that they put on the schedule, and they've won 3 in a row. Now, does that mean that the Miami Dolphins are ready to take on the New England Patriots? And what I expected before their, epidemic of injuries, the Baltimore Ravens and other teams, the Kansas City Chiefs, for, top billing in the AFC? Probably not. But they were a playoff team last year. And guess what? They're on a better road this year, because last year at this time they were 2-4. And now they're 4-2. And at the end of last year, they were better than they were at the beginning of last year. They plan to be the same this year, better at the end than they were at the beginning. So if you put that together, it's going to be a pretty compelling team if they make the kind of jump that they made last year from early season to late season.
Well, much like in our division, I mean, you're really nothing until you beat the Steelers, right? I mean, you have to beat them. And in your division, it's all about the Patriots. Really weird schedule for the Dolphins, right? Like the storm rolls through down there. The first week gets postponed. There goes your bye week. You had a nice bye right around Thanksgiving that would have helped to gear up for Patriots, Broncos, Patriots. But you guys play the Patriots twice in 3 weeks. Certainly that version of the Patriots back in early September when they were bleeding 40 points every week. I don't know that it's going to look like that by the time you get to them at the end of November, early December. But you will have a chance to make some hay if you're the Dolphins later in the year. It's all about beating the Patriots. If you can do that, you have a chance to win. If you lose twice to them, you're not going anywhere, right?
That doesn't just apply to the Dolphins. That applies to the entire NFL for the last 13 years, 15 years. The Patriots are, they're the kings of the division, but they're the kings of the NFL. Okay. So let's just call it what it is. By the way, the early season, you mentioned the hurricane, and that was bad. You didn't mention that, Lawrence Timmons went AWOL. And then they had an offensive line coach who was taping himself on his phone doing cocaine in his office. Yeah,
a guy I know pretty well. You know what I mean?
He worked for the Ravens.
Yeah, Chris was here. I knew Chris pretty well. I mean, Chris played the guitar. He'd been out in Colorado. I saw the video, and I'm like, I don't know what to say other than get help at that point. And certainly the Dolphins have had a whole bunch of sort of embarrassing things happen over the course of time. Not the least was what just drafting the kid with the weed gas mask who they've got out at left tackle, who they're trying to win football games with right now. They were the one team ready to take that leap of faith on draft night last year. We got Ronnie Stanley here instead, though.
Yeah, you're talking about Laramie Tunsil, their left tackle. And now that I've seen the Chris Furster video, I understand the Laramie Tunsil pick a little bit more.
There you go.
Let's put it that way. And the Laramie Tunsil pick, compared to Chris Forrester video, not quite as embarrassing.
Well, the Adam Gase, sits at the top of all of this. He was brought in to make this thing happen. He took the leap of faith with Jay Cutler. Where are we on the report card for Adam Gase as the genius at this point?
He's a leader. So that already is so much better than what they had before in Joe Philbin. The locker room respects him. He gets it. He understands people. He doesn't think he's always the smartest guy in the room. And so all those things come with the added benefit of he's pretty good with quarterbacks. The previous head coach, Joe Philbin, he wanted to dump Ryan Tannehill after 2 years, 2 years after drafting him in the first round. And it became very clear to Ryan Tannehill that his head coach didn't have his back. So what a shock. Ryan Tannehill lost the locker room. He didn't have the respect of the coordinator, and the Dolphins didn't win a whole lot. Last year, Adam Gase made a concerted effort to have Ryan Tannehill's back, no matter what. And while, Ryan got hurt, they were on their way to a pretty good season and ultimately went to the playoffs. Now, there's down here, there's people calling for Matt Moore over Jay Cutler, even though before Jay Cutler got hurt. Adam Gase has Jay Cutler's back. He's not one that's going to abandon his starting quarterback. If you're a starting quarterback in the NFL and you're in the trench, you want Adam Gase in that trench. You want him in that same foxhole with you.
Well, Matt Moore's going to be in the foxhole on Thursday night. Armando Salguero joining us here from the Miami Herald. You can follow him out on Twitter at Armando Salguero. The Dolphins at 4-2 now. Bills at 4-2. Patriots at 5-2. And the Ravens are a mess. Dude, if I was on your radio show and you said to me, well, tell me the strength of the Ravens at this point, I'd say, well, the kicker can kick 155 yards pretty automatically, maybe even 60 to win a game if he needed to. Other than that, right now, the strength of this team was supposed to be the defense. It has not been. Obviously, the offense is just too incomplete and an absolute mess with third-string wide receivers running everywhere and waiting for Macklin to get back or Perryman to get back, now Wallace to get back. And I know you guys have been through the Mike Wallace thing down there. I don't mean to be flippant, dude, but what's the strength of the Dolphins right now? Like, what is the hope that they're going to win 10 games or somehow eke out and squeak out some of these victories? What are they good at, Armando?
They're not really, they're pretty good on defense. They've got a nice defensive line headed up by Cameron Wake, who's, pretty, and has been for a long time, an elite pass rusher. They've got a very young defense. Their linebacker core is strong with Kiko Alonso, Ray Malaluga, and Lawrence Timmons, now that he's back from his little adventure.
I hear that. I hear a Bill, a Steeler, and a Bengal. That's just what you gave me.
Absolutely.
That's what it is, right?
And together, they're Dolphins. And so there's that.
Oh, and there's a lion, too. I forget. It's like lions and tigers and bears. We forgot about Sue, right?
Seriously. The offense hasn't played well, hasn't been good, hasn't scored a lot of points. They scored 31 points yesterday. That's more points than they scored all season long. They hadn't scored more than 20 before that in any game. But that's almost like, you look at that, hey, man, if I'm the Dolphins and I'm going, our offense has stunk and it hasn't come together. We're healthy. We think that we're pretty good. It's just a matter of stopping with the mental bus and guys carrying out their assignments. We still have the fourth leading rusher in the NFL from last year. He's healthy, so it's going to come together. It hasn't, and yet we're still 4-2. Eventually, I think that if they're smart enough, which I assume they are because they've been in this offense for a year and a half now, the mental lapses will cease. And, they'll score more points. Maybe it was this week. Maybe it was, the change in quarterbacks. I don't know what it is or what it will be. But, again, they haven't played at their best, and yet they found a way to win. So they've got to look at it as, when we start playing better, we're going to be a team to be reckoned with.
It's amazing you say we're healthy, if you're a dog. You're on your third-string quarterback, you know what I mean? Like, I thought the same thing about the Vikings in resiliency, No Bridgewater, no Bradford. They're doing it with Case Keenum and beating the Ravens on field goals with, 2 touchdowns to spare until the end. So, for the Dolphins to be on the third quarterback and 4-2, I don't know how any fan could not look at that and think that smells okay so far, despite the fact that, as you've pointed out, they haven't played all that well.
Yeah, and on the quarterback thing, it really is, an Adam Gase thing again. And I don't want to sound like I'm his PR firm, but Jay Cutler was retired. He was going to be a Fox television analyst. And so in August, when Ryan Tannehill blows out his knee again with a torn ACL, you look around, there aren't a whole lot of good quarterbacks left to be plucked up 2 weeks into training camp. And yet the Dolphins found Jay Cutler. Whatever you think of Jay Cutler, whatever you think you know of Jay Cutler, whatever you've seen of Jay Cutler, the bottom line is Jay Cutler is an experienced NFL starter, has had success. Yes, he's also had failure, but Gase was comfortable with him. He knew the offense. He came in, and the next day he was running plays because he knew Adam Gase's offense, having played for him in 2015. And so they basically just plowed ahead without really missing a beat. Now, yes, Jay Cutler is down now. He's not out for the year. He's going to miss a few weeks. So now they turn to Matt Moore. Guess what? Matt Moore's the guy that finished out the playoff run late last year. So, yeah, they're down to their third quarterback. It's not that bad. Now, if they get down to their fourth quarterback, then they'll have issues. I got to grant you that.
Dude, this is the part of the segment where I kick you in the chops a little bit here. I know you're a New York Yankees fan, and Captain Jeter has purchased a team down there in South Florida that sits in that spaceship that used to be a football stadium that you were fond of as well. But this is a pretty good World Series. I mean, I know it's not if you're a Yankees fan, and the Astros got over in 6 and 7 as they did over the weekend, but they certainly earned it. These have been 2 of the best teams all year. This is a breath of fresh air kind of World Series. I know the world, and including Rob Manfred and Fox pining away for Yankees and Dodgers, but we'll have a good week with this. There's a lot of good pitching, a lot of good players, a lot of exciting young players in Correa and Altuve, as well as Verlander trying to do this and Kershaw trying to do this. Hell, they're all trying to do this week, right?
Yeah, no, it should be fun. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to watch, and because I'm kind of angry that the Yankees are not in it. And here's the truth of the matter. 50 games into the baseball season, if you had told me, Armando, the New York Yankees will be in the ALCS, they'll be in Game 7, it'll be the third inning, you'll be tied 0-0. Are you good with this?
I take that every year.
Yankees fan would say, yes, hallelujah, that's an epiphany of a season. And yet, a young team that showed up maybe a year earlier than everyone expected, I feel a little disappointed that they didn't, finish the job.
Well, good. You know what? All of you guys, you got tired of winning back when you were winning. You got bored with winning, like the New England. Just tired of it. You won every year, and now you taste it and you smell it a little bit. It's good. It's not a bad thing, Armando. Nothing wrong with
I'm sure Earl Weaver got tired of winning. I'm sure that the Ripkins, got bored with winning back in the day.
They didn't win every year. Only the Yankees won every year. Only the Patriots win every year. Alabama wins every year. So, there's only so much of that, and then you become a little more numb to it. That's all. So this whole hurt, want thing you feel, I'm playing a little Dr. Mel. This is good for you. Because you know what? The Yankees are going to win, right? I mean, don't you feel that at some point in the next 5 years, they're going to win 2 or 3 World Series because they're the Yankees, and they're going to have Machado on their team, or they're going to have Stanton on their team, because that's kind of the way this works. I'm in the American League East. I've seen this happen, Armando.
Yes, that's good. I like that. I like that scenario. Can we play that out? Also, maybe, Stanton doesn't come to any team in the AL East. Maybe, I don't know, I think the Nationals have a pretty good player. What's his name? Whoever it is, that kid that can hit a lot and do a lot of work. I'd like him in a Yankee uniform too. Look, fans are fans. I'm a baseball fan. I want my team to do well. I want my team to win every year. I don't get bored of it. I'm sure the Orioles fans, they didn't get bored of it. By the way, you know who my favorite pitcher growing up was?
Jim Palmer.
Mike Cuellar.
Oh, okay. Well, I see that, Cuellar in the summer months. Never bet against him in the summer, man. He was the man.
You got that right.
Absolutely. The late, great Mike Cuellar. Armando, always great to check in with you, man. Good luck with your Derek Jeter pursuits down there. Good luck not watching the World Series this week. I'll see you on Thursday night. Bring me some stone crabs, and I'll make sure you don't get tourist crab cakes, okay?
Sounds good. I appreciate you, Nestor.
Always the best, Armando Salguero, doing it down in South Florida now for 3 decades at the Miami Herald. Our paths cross like ships in the night in the Paul Anger and the Pontiff era of Steve Miller at the Miami Herald in 1989. I got free shrimp cocktail and 2 nights at the Marriott Key Biscayne out of it. Hey, you can't do better than that. I am out in the Buy a Toyota audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world. Want to shout out to Box Hill Pizzeria for the breast crab cakes up in Hartford County. They can now be shipped anywhere in the world, including South Florida. You can learn more at Box Hill Pizzeria. And as you know, I'm an aficionado of the salad dressing there. So next time you're in Box Hill, grab Tommy, grab Chris, say, Nestor's been bragging on the salad dressing. I want to get some of that. You will not be disappointed if you go home with the Box Hill salad dressing. You can also go home each and every day to the WNST morning newspaper that's served to you digitally at 7 a.m. each and every morning. It's all brought to you by our friends at Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. Last but never least, I'm out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.